What's up, everybody? Welcome back to part 2 of the Vertical MRO podcast with myself and the continuation of Dave Wark's journey. Dave's professional journey began at Canadian Helicopters, where he honed his skills as an aerospace technician before moving on to the pivotal roles at various companies, including North Star Aerospace, Mint Turbines, and Consolidated Turbine Services. Throughout his career, Dave has been instrumental in expanding Canadian operations, establishing satellite shops, and driving international sales. With extensive training from Pratt & Whitney and Bell Helicopter, Dave holds multiple certifications and licenses, including the AME M2 rating and instructor qualifications in PT6T. His commitment to quality management and leadership on the shop floor underscores his dedication to excellence in the aerospace maintenance and service. Join us as we explore Dave Wark's journeys, insights, and contributions to the helicopter industry on this podcast. Without further ado, here's our good man, Dave Wark, or as he's affectionately known as Warky. This is Vertical MRO. Special thanks to our sponsors for this podcast, Bell and Salus Aviation.
Welcome to the Vertical MRO podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts.
All right, everyone, you're ready to contact. You're cleared to the Bravo.
The Vertical MRO podcast explores the fascinating world of helicopter maintenance, repair, and overhaul with your host, Val Medved.
Now, line altimeter 3029, approved as requested.
The podcast features helicopter technicians, mechanics, engineers, and MRO experts who share invaluable industry insight, knowledge, and stories that will inspire current and aspiring industry maintainers.
Yep. I think Kevin Shedd, one of our past guests here, I think you and him cross paths. Good, young, great fella to kind of teach a lot of the kids that come up to Fort St. John and kind of have him train. He's with Yellowhead now. He spoke about, there aren't too many jobs that you can kind of be working and turning a wrench on a transmission underneath the northern lights on a tarmac. Like no. You're put in some pretty unique scenarios and situations. And I think your executive level decision making has to probably be pretty high par.
Yeah, it's, actually you just nailed it. That when you become that, that's quite a bit of responsibility, mate. You're out looking after a $2, $3, $4 million machine and people's lives, and you're out there doing this. And then you have to make that decision of whether that part is going to make it or not make it, or look, this thing's got to fly. What can we do? Mm-hmm. That is it's a big deal. And people have to be cognizant of that, But there's that movie, I'm going to stuff this up. You may know it. It's the one, and it's a true story, in Arizona where those firefighters were consumed by the blaze. It's a fantastic show.
Yeah. It's going to come to me after we're done recording this.
Yeah. And, they're sitting on the hill and they're out looking over the blaze, and the lead actor there.
Was that Clooney?
No, it wasn't, but it was it'll come to me after the show as well. He says, "Ain't this the greatest job in the world?" And I've had those moments. I've had those times where you're just like, "Oh my God, this is incredible." And then you have the other ones where, "Oh my God, what am I doing here?"
Only the brave.
Only the brave. Yeah. Amazing. And who was the lead actor in that?
It was the same guy that played Thanos. What's his name? Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin. Yeah. And he just sits on that hill, and it's the greatest shot. And he says, "Ain't this the greatest job in the world?"
There you go.
Truly, I've had those moments.
Yeah. I can say that. And the only thing that probably, there's a 50% feeling on that one, because I've been put in some corners of this world. And I'm just like,
oh yeah.
I can't believe this, this kid from North End, Winnipeg is actually out here doing what I'm doing. And the only thing that would have made it better is to have, traveling with my family so they can kind of see the same thing. Cause there's a couple of times, and you're pretty and all that, Dave, but I don't care to share a sunset with you. So it's just in Borneo or where you at in Bora Bora.
Bora.
Yeah, keep your swim trunks to yourself, please. So
yeah, no, you've done, you've done, and you have been traveling the last couple of years, far more than I have. I've scaled it back because of the new venue here, but, it gets tough, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It really does.
Yep. Let's talk about that new venue, buddy, because now you are a PRM. You are executively responsible to Transport Canada and who else here? FAA, EASA, you name it. So you've now set up shop in Vancouver. Let's talk about that, because now you're going from kind of really jumping to the field. Now you're controlling what's coming in and managing your employees and what you got coming in and going out at a particular quality level.
And Val, it took the better part of 20 years to bring this to well, maybe not quite that long, but to bring it to complete fruition. When I first got on with this group in 2004, I had zero confidence on the fact that this would work out, because I thought the group that I'd worked with previous, the Acros and the Vectors, were the top of their game, which they were. They were. And it's me, the Lone Ranger, in the middle of 500 miles radius of the busiest 212, 412 network probably on the planet.
Yeah.
And I'm working for an American company, and I'm coming in offering them, what exactly am I offering them? I have no shop. I have a certain amount of knowledge. I'm going to ask you to ship your engine south. I just looked at it and went, this is doomed for failure. There is no way. But the reason I believe it worked was because we were technically oriented. We were technical first, sales driven second. And my God, if it didn't work, and they sent those engines south. But at that moment, I still have a letter that I wrote to those guys. I bring it up. I actually shared it with them because it was a 20-year anniversary for me with them in April. I said, here it is. We require a shop this side of the border. So in 2015, thankfully, Richie Casabula and Johnny Grant had the foresight to realize.
Good old Richie.
Yeah, Richie says, Davey, it's going to work. It's just going to work.
That's a terrible Boston accent, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and he did. And so we shot out to make this happen, and it was supposed to be a satellite shop, just an extension of the Oklahoma shop, but it just took off.
Give yourself some credit though there too, dude. Kind of like, it's like, and yeah, you're humble and you're modest, and I appreciate that, but you're one of the best sales guys I know without actually being a sales guy. And I mean that just for the sheer fact you have such a loyal following. You can be like the Pied Piper, blowing upon your flute one day, and all of a sudden, let's send our PT6 to Davey Wark because he's playing the tune. That's about the most comedic way I can kind of explain it without getting too defamatory there. But you're like I say, your reputation precedes you, and I heard it, saw it, and talked about it with everybody there. I was in Australia just over a month ago. So
I appreciate it, man. It's to be honest, I if it was me truly doing this on my own, I'd have lost money. I'd be in a homeless camp in Abbotsford right now. I always, and to this day, I look at it the same way. When I deal with you, this is my engine, and I would do what I think on my engine. Consequently, I don't win a lot of favor. I've been asked my Oklahoma brethren, man, who do you work for? Like, are you working for that customer? Are you working for me? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But it was what we needed here, Val. We needed another. And as fate would have it, today I was visited at the shop by the Transport Canada fella, Richard Mackroth, that gave us our AMO 10 years ago here.
Okay.
He's retired, and he came by to visit and just see how we're doing. But it has grown to that point now where we are no longer a satellite shop. We are a full-blown repair and overhaul shop, and they're actually talking test cell for us. So that's a big deal. Yeah. Good for you.
I know that aged you prematurely and kind of ground your gears down pretty hard.
It did. Yeah.
Setting that all up, and especially so where Dave is located here, with the people that are listening, he is in the mecca of everything helicopters, period. Not just 212, 412, but mecca when it comes to Canadian operators in on this side of the border. Actually, you can even include, Oregon, Washington in there too, Washington into there too, right?
Yeah.
And at the time, your fierce competition was the big machine of Standard Aero, the big machine of Vector. So for you to kind of start up this little satellite shop, and mind you, those places have kind of diminished a little bit, actually diminished a lot with Vector no longer being there.
Oh yeah.
Standard Aero kind of relocating their assets to different parts of the world. You guys have stood the test of time, and you have the great reputation of CTS, Canada. So, tip your hat to that. And it's just kind of what you set up. And the people that you know and entrusted you with their engines, which is not a small asset, not a least expensive asset. You know, you're talking about PT6-3 series engines and some of the A models I believe you do on the fixed wing stuff, right? So I'll let you elaborate. Sorry to jump in.
Thank you to our sponsor, Solace Aviation. For comprehensive maintenance, repair, and overhaul services, Solace provides in-house expertise, world-class technology, and certifications to service the global aviation market. Excellence starts with Solace. Find out more at www.salusaviation.com.
No, you nailed it, because you know these directors of maintenance, and we touched on it a little bit earlier. They have a huge responsibility, these guys, you know. So for them to go with an independent or
gray shop,
I hate a lot of the term, a gray shop. I've always referred to it as the independents, and as opposed to a DOF. And you know my analogy on that whole thing. It's I go back to the biker world where I say, you know, the DOF is like they want you to patch in, you know, and they want you to get patched. Well, I just want to be a puppet club, you know. I want you to have the same aspects that you would get with being a full patch member, but I want you to be a puppet club, and the best of both worlds. And thankfully, a lot of those directors of maintenance early on in the days put their trust in me. And the up-and-comers came with their, well, not me per se, it's our environment, our shop. And I shot a fair amount of shit, as you know, at our Oklahoma brethren. They do it differently than we do. They do repair and overhaul faster, better, more efficient than anything I've ever seen. And for that, I chuck shit at them. Because I retain to be the hot rod boogie shop that's going to talk to you and giggle with you and have a drink with you, and we put out onesie twosies, real shiny. They do the volume like I've never. The work ethic on those guys is.
We're talking about Bristol, Oklahoma right now.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
Take it or leave it. It's incredible, and I do tease them about it, but I'm in awe. It is incredible.
It's an impressive shop. I've been there. I've been there a couple of times. And the last time I was there, there was all types of like litigious individuals. They were walking around because I think at that time they were looking at expanding and doubling the shop size there. So there's something that's going right if you can double your shop size overnight. Yeah. They've mirrored the, you know, Johnny Grant he's a brilliant lad. He's mirrored the Henry Ford sort of. You can't call him Johnny Grant.
Yeah, bump. And he's going to shoot me for that one. But honestly, he's mirrored the Henry Ford, and he's their cookie cutter. Now that works to some degree. It doesn't work in my hot rod world where I like to keep them shiny in that, but that's because I'm antiquated in the way I am. But
that's the polite word you just called yourself.
Yeah. I'm going to plug this whole thing we've created with a dirty word, warranty. Warranty, in my humble opinion, is only as good as the paper. It's garbage. I've seen warranties. Elaborate here, because this is going to be a whole digging. Oh yeah, I'm going to get it on this one. You are. Likely I'm going to get dragged in it, but I won't mention any names. So I've seen bumper to bumper warranties. I've seen what we incur as 1,000-hour warranties or a year. I've seen everything in between. And all I see in those warranties is people trying to get out of it. You know, you didn't stand with your tongue stuck out to the side, or you didn't stand this way or right. So I will say this, in all honesty, I cannot think of one incident where we did not work with a customer, even out of warranty, in some way, shape, or form or another to make it happen. And I think that's, Val, is why we're so successful in what we've done. Brother, that is a MO of a successful shop, having spoken and dealt with and worked with a couple of them, where your metal gets tested. Nobody can say they're 100% without failure. But what determines a good shop from a great shop is how that shop is going to treat you when you are down. So, 100%. Good for you for saying that, dude. 100%. And, you know, with success comes more warranties. The more you pump out, the more chance of an issue you're going to have, whether it's a small one or a relatively frustrating one or whatever. But I know we're dealing with one now where they've gone above and beyond. Like, I mean, they worked over the weekend to test an engine that was from out your neck of the woods, way up Pickle Lake or some bloody thing.
Yeah. Yep.
You know,
Oof. That's middle of nowhere.
Yeah. So the engine made it in, it got to the test cell and came back within 3 or 4 days. Like, I don't know how they did it, but anyway, that, in my humble opinion, is the difference, because even in our personal lives where you're dealing with a Best Buy or someone and they ask me, do you want the extended warranty? No, I really don't.
See, I've learned my lesson though. I take it.
Yeah.
I take the extended warranty just for the sheer fact, because I know the thing's going to crap out in 2 years.
Well, given that, I'd sort of asked the young guy, it's funny you said that. I said to him, hey, if this thing's gone within a year, you're going to see me and I'm going to come looking for you. You're going to replace this for me, brother.
Yeah. Oh, look at you going full goon. All right.
That's the Irish thing.
Yeah. Give me your license. I know where you live.
Yeah. Right. As we get older, you're looking at that Chihuahua in the mirror, but I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing that Bull Terrier.
That's right. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the fight at the size of the fight in the dog, right? Good job.
True.
Good job. Yeah. So clearly you've implemented good culture there within your shop. Like you said, if they're turning wrench on these engines that are after hours, you've set the shop up now. You're running successfully, and the challenges that are kind of basically still coming along with talent retention. And congratulations on keeping your apprentices that you kind of now graduated full wings. So when that is all kind of up and running here, you know, when you're talking about particular customers in different neck of the woods, are you still kind of doing the remote travel, or are you sending someone else in their lieu of, or to PNG where the body odor is not the greatest, but you know, stuff needs to get done, right? So.
Well, you know, Val, what sort of changed that whole arena was COVID.
That's such a swear word, but okay,
it is.
Go ahead. Yeah.
You're 100%. It's like, what is that? A 5 or 6 letter swear word. Yeah.
PTSD. That's what it is, brother.
Mm-hmm. At that point, it destroyed the world you and I live in, but it also changed 2 things. It changed people having to go into the office every day. And it changed the fact that we couldn't travel, so you have to come up with an alternative. Long story short, I am not making those huge trips anymore. I'm gonna do one in 2 weeks to Europe and the UK, and slightly different arena with the Farnborough Air Show and that. But we found that due to shipping costs, shipping delays, cost of air travel and such. Now, this is with our customer base that we developed.
Yeah.
And I'll use Jan Boy as an example, that in many aspects, sending someone over there to troubleshoot this engine, perhaps fix it on site. What if we can't fix it on site?
By a teleconference.
Yep. And many times you get there and this thing has to come to the shop. So you've just flown there, you've done all this. So we're no longer flying over there as salesmen and tech support. I think the last tour that I priced out was going to be 20,000. Well, you just went to Australia. So, you know, so it makes more sense to remove that unit, send it to the shop after these years and years of the rapport that we've developed, and then turn it as quickly as we can and send it back.
That takes a lot of client trust and customer trust there. Because if you're teleconferencing, as we are, like you said today, like in this, even this video format of this podcast, where you can see, you know, face up of what's involved, and if there's checks and balances that need to be kind of adhered to, or you can, you know, like you said, your experience, you kind of, well, does it do this? Does it do this? Does it do this? And if it fails on like 2 of the 3 platforms, just box it up and send it in, right? So that takes a lot of trust for your clientele to kind of really send out, okay, Dave Wark told me this thing's a pile of crap. I need to send it in for an overhaul. I need for an update or service bolt-in or so on and so forth. Yeah,
100%, man. And, you know, it's easy. I call it, well, the computer cowboy or the what's the other term they use? The laptop
warrior.
Keyboard warrior.
Yeah, that's right.
It's easy for me to go, well, you know what, buddy? Just take that fuel cluster, swap it over to the other side, and do the same with this one, and take 2 aspirin and call me in the morning. Well, oh man, they just
Dr. David Wark.
Yeah. That poor engineer back there. Who the hell is this guy? Do you know how much?
Dr. David Wark, PhD, pretty happy and dumb.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And then the next day he calls you. Oh shit, I ain't answering that.
Who's this? This is 912, not 911.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, you're right. It doesn't work in every aspect, but it has been. And so, for instance, the 2,500-hour clutch inspections that would work seamlessly, we would do them probably, I think the last time we went on our tour was about 2 or 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's depending on how far, where are you going, and do you know that client? Mm-hmm. Or if you're going to the other side of the world, it's not cost effective, right?
And that's, I think, your last bit of your statement there is cost effectiveness, right? Because listen, like there's companies, whether they're big, small, or corporate or mom and pop, all pennies count nowadays.
Oh yeah,
especially in our market. So it's a tough go.
It is a tough go.
Validate the $20,000 airplane ticket to go to Mumbai or something like that, right? So
it's really hard to justify when you can air freight that thing for a third of the cost.
Yeah.
So, and yes, the guys have to remove it. And again, it's like the keyboard warrior. Oh, just remove it and put it in a box. Well, that's 16 hours, 2 guys. So yeah, it's tough, man.
And that's only a portion of your problems there. Like you said, setting up the shop 20 years later here. Now you've got a shingle to hang out here. And this is, you've staked a lot of your reputation on this, but like I said, your reputation is that of a good one. So when you're kind of now hanging the shingle saying, here I am, I think, and put me in my place if I'm wrong here, the closing of the 2 big, DOFs that are around you, you guys probably stand to benefit on that one. You stood to benefit on it, that's for sure.
Thank you to our sponsor, Bell. Bell proudly supports the Vertical MRO podcast and their vision to share valuable insights into helicopter maintenance, repair, and overhaul. Bell is dedicated to keeping our customers in the sky and on their missions with industry-leading global customer solutions.
Yeah, we did. And we still do. I mean, Bump can quote the numbers far better than I can. The guy's got a numbers brain, but we are...
Sure.
The numbers he quoted last month that we're pushing and doing are they revel the old standard aero sort of thing. But in all fairness, losing Vector in this arena, yes, of course, we got a lot of the work, but it really, if you look at it, it hurt the customers. Yes, they come to us, but because of the relationship that we had with Vector at that time and knowing all the players, we would work quite closely together, and I would take a little bit of overload of theirs and likewise, right? It was a little tit for tat, so to speak. But now, the folks have to put their trust in Standard Aero, which is in your neck of the woods. And I don't, far be it for me to be a businessman, so to speak, but I think that was one of Standard Aero's greatest mistakes, was closing that Vector shop. Boy, you can't possibly take all that talent to Winnipeg. And
what are you saying about Winnipeg, dude?
Oh, you're cutting out there. Did you say something? Val, you still there?
Yeah, you're taking somebody that lives in Vancouver, Lower Mainland, Lower Greater Vancouver area. You're being relocated to Winnipeg. They're like, see ya.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the folks retired, right? I mean, that was just the way it was going to go.
They did have, and I both you and I know, they did have a great amount of serious knowledge that they just walked away from.
Oh yeah.
And that was, I think, to your earlier statement there, unfortunately, it was their decision. They kind of relocated back to Central. And actually, I don't even think it's here anymore. I think they moved it out to the East Coast.
Yep, I think you're right.
Now you're going from one coast, 4,000 kilometers, if not more, 45, 50, or 5,000 kilometers, clear to the other coast.
Yeah.
clear to their code. And it's
We're, Canadians, we're a proud bunch, man. We want to see it kept here, whether it's, I don't know whether there's truth to it or not, but I've also heard that some of that work went down to the United States, somewhere like, I think Virginia or somewhere around there. But again, just a bit of street rumor, but
as the rotor turns.
yeah, as the rotor turns, and we are a proud bunch here.
Yep.
We want to keep our work here. And many, many times I hear from the guys here, well, Davey, is this going to stay here? Yep, it will, apart from the test. Of course, we're going to send it just to our company test cell.
Are you finding that? Okay, so you're finding a little patriotism there in the engine sense. Really?
100%. Yeah, okay. A lot. I can think of 10 to 12 faces right now that have spouted that. And I have to assure them that, yep. And I think, Val, the reason behind that is so that if they chose to jump in the car and come down and see their parts laid out on the table, if they chose, they can do that. And
local organic kind of thing, like support your local farmers and your produce and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just kind of switch that over to the helicopter engine world.
Yeah, there's some truth to that. And
come see your PT disc grow.
Yeah, and sometimes they will. Sometimes the guys will send down one of their young guys just to witness tearing it down.
Okay.
Not that there's not a trust factor, but just to get an education on what's going on with it. Right?
An impact kind of statement or impact kind of view to have these young bucks look at what's involved in tearing down a particular engine. Yeah, okay. I can see that. And it can't be any different there south of the 49th parallel. They got to feel the same way with particular engine shops that they're sending their stuff to. A lot of those ag guys, you and I have known those N-Triple. We've been down to the N-Triple show, which is a great show. One of my favorite shows, the N-Triple-A. And when beer is served at the end of every aisle for an ag show. But at the same time, these are like local farmers that are like millionaires. You'd never know them to be millionaires because they're not out flash and dash. They're flying their air tractors. They're even flying some of their, converted Hueys with the spray factors on there now, right? So you're taking some of the older Jet Rangers and long ranges and converting them into crop dusters, right? So
I remember seeing that. I believe it was with Bump at an ag show, one of the first ones. And gentleman comes up in bib overalls and chewing, some
good old tobacco.
Yeah. And talking, and I just thought, my God, who is this guy? After he left, Bump informed me that he was one of the wealthiest ag operators in the world, worth, like you say, millions, Yep. Yeah, are you kidding me? So
just good old humble folks. They treat their aircraft like they do their tractors. They got to keep running, right? So
hence air tractor for sure.
Yeah,
you're not kidding.
No. Yeah. So you're on the rotor side of the world, and I know some of the fixed wings also comes through your shop as well. Does that 100% make it down to the U.S.?
No. We've got a lot of the fixed wing fellas, they deal in hot sections,
Right.
Whereas our PT6T world, we typically do not deal in a hot section where you mandatory take it apart. So we're very beneficial to the local operators like that want to send us their hot sections and retain the engine on site flying, and then we do their hot section. And so, we've grown quite a bit with that. Brother Ricky, he's in charge of trying to get more fixed wing in, but it's two different arenas. I mean, honestly, the rotor wing and the fixed wing guys, as much as we would like to think they're not two different arenas, it's chalk and cheese, man. It's chalk and cheese. And
which one are we?
Well, I like cheese.
That cheese is good.
Yeah,
cheese can be melted, could be made brie, could be.
Chalk just scratches on the board, but
right.
Literally two different arenas, and two different sets of knowledge. Well, you in your life, you deal with both as well. So it's different.
That it is, and that's being polite. We'll just leave it at that. So when you're talking to particular individuals and you're kind of, say you walk across a new customer, say they might have heard David Wark, which is great. And they start talking about, I got a particular issue there. I'm used to being sending to the OEs. And, how do you kind of really talk to them about, like, for lack of a better term, and I know you don't like using the word too much, how do you convince them to kind of say, like, give us a gray shop, a shot? So just, is it, you find it just kind of giving them more options versus the OE, or do you feel like you just, it kind of takes a little conviction there based upon your reputation?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, that was one of my, in the early days, that was my stumbling block, because I came from a DOF. You know, I came from the Pratt world, introduced to the PMA world, and consequently the gray shop. So the difference with the OEM and the gray shops, the way I would always sort of try to explain it was, I bring it back down to the hot rod world. You know, you can either take your car to the GM dealership and get charged X amount of dollars an hour for OEM parts, or you can go to this really well-known automotive repair place that has all these great ratings, and maybe they shop at your local auto parts store, which is the PMA or OEM, right? You're not pigeonholed into either one. You have a choice. And there's lots of guys that will listen to this podcast that work at, say, the OEMs and go, well, you have a choice there as well. You do. But typically you would have to sign a waiver to install other than OEM parts, because it'll affect the warranty, right? So it's flexibility, and it's, you really have to go down that road. What we would find ourselves doing a lot of the time in the early days was giving 2 quotes, one with OEM parts,
Yes,
and one with PMA, because we can, and then you see the difference in pricing. Because in all fairness, that's what the OEMs would like you to believe, is that the quality is not there in a gray shop. Well, I know that's not true.
Yeah.
As fair enough as I do with the OEMs. I would never say the quality is not there with the OEM.
Yep.
100% it is. It's service, after hours service, perhaps
All that has to come into play. Yeah, all of that has to come into play, like the reputation of the shop, the service and the quality of the shop, the options available of the shop, OE or P or gray. And overall, I think it kind of comes down to what my world is all about. It's really the reputation of the person that you're kind of dealing with, on kind of how are you feeling in dealing with that person and or organization.
Yeah, 100%, Val. You nailed it. And you know, our dear friend Scotty Hayward that you're going to have on next week, or have had on, I can't remember.
Yeah, he's coming up. Yep.
You know, Scott, I remember when I first started in this industry, Alpine helicopters, that's my F1 of helicopters. That's where I want to end up, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what I probably would have given one of my Bull Terriers up for that, for that opportunity.
Right.
Perhaps the stupider one, I would have given him up. But, you know, I loved it. I thought that, and I was told, and have been told for 20 years, you know, I knew those guys. I knew a lot of the guys working there. Not a chance, Warky. We're never going to be able to do it. Guess who's doing? Yeah. Guess who's getting to do some Alpine's work now?
There you go. So now you become so instead of like wanting that to be the F1 of it, now you've become the crew chief of the F1 car.
Yeah, I could be the guy dropping the nuts like Shelby, or right?
Stealing an Italian stopwatch, right? Anybody a free watch?
Oh, don't you love it? But no, in all fairness, it's taken a very long time, but it's an option. It doesn't mean, I don't believe anyone should put all their eggs in one basket. Options are always good. There's going to come a day where we just can't help.
Question at all times. If you're going to be an operator, if you're going to be listening to this podcast, I guess question whatever options are thrown to you via gray shop or via OE. It's to kind of keep that open mind on it, right? So,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wise advice, my friend. So when you're now looking at kind of, or, you know, kind of looking back at everything you've kind of really accomplished, because you've had a I'm not going to say a great career because it's still ongoing. That's what I love about you, brother, is that you are truly ageless, and I don't see you retiring anytime soon. You're going to be right up there with a couple of the legends of the industry. You know, God, you know, rest his soul there with Larry Batchelor, with Mr. Arturo, right? these are two guys that, you're right up there with and talking to a lot of guys there with you. So keep up that, keep up your reputation for that work, because like I said, I count on you for not only just your professional side of the world, but also, like I said, the friendship that I've always kind of banked out with you. You've gone with me through some hurdles there, brother, and I appreciate you.
Yeah, Val. I mean, it's funny when you came up with this idea, and when you say I give you my bio, and then you're writing this all down, you're looking at this and you're going, holy mother of God. I'd almost forgotten about that,
Yeah.
And like you say, you and I go way back, as we do with another one of our dear friends, Rob Parsons. I mean, I've met people in this industry, and I'll just take one little moment just to reflect on some of the ones we've lost.
Hold on. This is what, I'm all about this. So take your time in this reflection, because it happened with one of my other guests not too long ago, and I'll always have time for it. So take your time on it.
The Vertical MRO podcast is powered by Vertical Magazine, the rotorcraft industry's #1 trusted multimedia resource. Visit Vertical Mag Media on YouTube to gain access to exclusive videos featuring operators in the field and more unique content from the pages of Vertical. Subscribe today to stay informed and inspired.
Well, it's the mentors that brought us to, because I think that's kind of where we're going with this now. Who reflected so heavily on me that this is where I went, and the first one I can think of is Dave Heyer. Dave Heyer was just way above and beyond. When I first started the technical sales end of things, Dave Heyer apparently told, when they came recruiting me, Howard K. Hadley, Dave Heyer apparently told him, you hire Dave Wark as a tech rep and we'll think about it. Howard told me that, and I couldn't believe it. I called Dave. I said, Dave, I never done this. I don't know. He says, you'll do fine, Warky. You'll do fine. So the first person we go to see on my first technical sitting was a sales guy, and I'm at the table, and they're talking, and Dave Heyer looks at me, he goes, Warky, write this down. Don't just sit there nodding, write it down.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You're just in awe of everything. Right?
Yeah.
Take your goddamn jaw off the table and get yourself going.
Right? You could do this.
Yeah.
But we have our Dave Heyers, our Larry Batchelors, Al Gurdon. There's another one that was huge on me. Al sent me to, oh my gosh, he sent me to Borneo in the early 90s when I was just young, wet behind the ears, Al had a tremendous, Al reflected a lot of guys. Art Payne, he mentioned, Arturo is a legend. Jürgen Funk, that many forget, but Jürgen was right back there. I mean, the things he did. And although he isn't considered what I would say, he is a mentor to both you and I in certain aspects. Steve Dandridge, most recently, I mean, my God, man,
Yeah.
What a cruel card, right?
Yep. Yeah. That was a hard pill to hear that happen so fast, and he passed.
Yeah.
Always
such a positive man.
Still the absolute one of the one, to the family, if they're listening, please accept all of our condolences here. He was a good fella. Great. He still is a great fella.
He is a great fella, but those are mentors that I have had. So, I hope I can be this mentor to some of the up and comers that are coming through, and how would I entice them, or what piece of advice would I give them to?
Yeah, please.
Listen to what the guys are telling you. Don't stand there with your hands in your pockets looking at me. I always remember some of these guys, Dave Heyer, wax on, wax off. One hand's always moving, one hand's, move. And honestly, you don't have to be. I'm looking at these two faces right now on the screen. You don't have to be the sharpest knife in the drawer.
That's kind of a backhanded compliment, you son of a bitch. I'll get you in the next one, throat punch you, but okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's not about getting the best marks. It's just try,
My
It's that
listeners
simple.
know that I coach football here, and sometimes I'll drop a quote that I've always kind of dropped upon the kids when I coach them. I said, "Hustle will outperform talent any day."
Yeah, you're nice guy tries hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, that's what it comes down to. And this industry, you and I are both products of the value you can gain from the travel and the things you can see and the places I've been. I would never have done that with an alternative career.
No.
No.
And listen, like you said, we kind of reflect well upon the people that we've learned from. And in the past, Wark, you've been always the biggest supporter of everything that I did, going back to when I was living down in the States, and my trials and tribulations that I went through with everything involved there, and you still rooted me on. You still supported me no matter where I ended up at. So that, brother, I thank you. And you're a brother more than you are a friend. And I consider you in high regard, and you always have the open door here at my place there too. We'll check your wallet, see if you have any money in it first, but you're always still welcome at the Casa de Medbed. Just for the sheer pounding I beat upon your ego every time we see each other.
Oh, very, very kind and very well taken, my friend. I do. Yeah. Except the Winnipeg part. Sorry.
I'll get you yet, you West Coaster.
Maybe move to Kelowna or something.
Yeah, well, it's listen, that's another extension of Vancouver by the sounds of it here. So Here we are. But listen, we're going to start wrapping up here, brother. I really appreciate your time that you kind of put aside for me and kind of getting onto the show and more. So just kind of sharing a little bit of your wisdom and keep doing what you're doing. You're a good positive force, and you've always got the time to kind of really sit down with the little folk and the people, little people in the room, right? And that's just a matter of kind of you having that ability to kind of listen to what they're going through at the same time, giving that piece of advice now, because you're an elder, so you're north of 60. You're north of 60, and I know
I'm north of 60.
When you get up, you waddle. I see it, so it's and that all depends.
We've been sitting a long time here.
Yeah. I was going to say, please get off that donut. Maybe refresh that air donut. So, but listen, as on behalf of everybody that's listening to this podcast and my family and myself, dude, thanks for doing what you do. I really do mean that. So.
Thank you very much, Val, and thanks for having me. I was really, really looking forward to this because this is your calling, man. This is it.
I appreciate you. One last question, and we'll wrap it up, and then we'll take it from there. So on the last one here, I always ask this, and it kind of gives me a little bit of an insight to what people are and who they aren't. So pineapple, does it belong on pizza?
100%.
Yeah. God damn it, Warky.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah.
You soft little princess.
I love it. Yeah. Had it just the other night, man. Great Canadian. Oh, love it.
Why does pineapple make your mullet grow a little bit further? And
a little bit, yeah. But it you just start thinking the hula girl thing in the Hawaii,
No, that's the last thing I ever need to picture you in as a hula and some coconut bra. That's just not an image I need to go to bed to. I'll be albeit though, my youngest son Ethan there, he used to have a hula girl on the dashboard of his car, of his last few cars, except this one here. So, but it's like, yeah, okay. Now I'm gonna, every time I see that, it's gonna be like, there's Dave Wark.
Yeah, that's sort of going gangster doing that. I don't know.
This Hawaiian gangster of a hula dancer, Dave Wark. That's next in your repertoire. Never mind chief guy to talk about PT6. We're going to talk hula dancing, Dave Wark.
It could be worse, man. Yeah, it could. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart.
Bless your heart. Yeah.
You're a good man, Dave Wark. To that, my friends, thanks for listening to the Vertical MRO. Dave, absolute pleasure having you on. You're welcome back anytime. And I'll extend that invite over to you. There might call you for some expertise if you're the last man on the pole that I need to talk to.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks for listening to Vertical MRO. This has been Dave Wark, and we'll see you guys in the future. Stand by for a message after a word from our sponsors.
Thank you to our sponsor, Solace Aviation. For comprehensive maintenance, repair, and overhaul services, Solace provides in-house expertise, world-class technology, and certifications to service the global aviation market. Excellence starts with Solace. Find out more at www.salusaviation.com. Thank you to our sponsor, Bell. Bell proudly supports the Vertical MRO podcast and their vision to share valuable insights into helicopter maintenance, repair, and overhaul. Bell is dedicated to keeping our customers in the sky and on their missions with industry-leading global customer solutions.
The Vertical MRO podcast is powered by Vertical Magazine, the rotorcraft industry's #1 trusted multimedia resource. Visit Vertical Mag Media on YouTube to gain access to exclusive videos featuring operators in the field and more unique content from the pages of Vertical. Subscribe today to stay informed and inspired.
As we wrap up this episode, we've covered the remarkable career of my good friend Dave Wark, a true veteran in the helicopter industry. From his early days as an apprentice at Kelowna Flightcraft to his current role as general manager at CTS Canada, he has consistently demonstrated a passion for excellence and a dedication to advancing the field of aerospace maintenance. Throughout his journey, Dave has not only excelled in technical roles, but also played a pivotal role in business development, international sales, and the establishment of satellite facilities. His expertise in troubleshooting, field service, and his role as an instructor for a PT6T course highlights his deep technical knowledge and leadership capabilities. Dave's commitment to continuous learning is evident in his extensive training of certifications from Pratt & Whitney and Bell Helicopter and other prestigious institutions. His contributions have not only shaped the companies he's worked for, but also has impacted the broader helicopter community. We hope you've enjoyed gaining insights into Dave Wark's career and the experience that have shaped him into the respected leader he is today. As he's always said, as the rotor turns, thanks, Warky. Thanks for letting us, the Vertical Helicast team, into your world. Join us next time as we continue to explore the stories and journeys of the industry leaders making a difference in helicopters and in life. Until then, may you fly in skies that are blue and keep those rotors turning. This is Vertical MRO. Val, over and out.